Now, from WYDC TV, this is Big Fox News at 10.
Good evening, I'm Anna Manuel. We begin tonight with the property tax hike in Elmira. Our Sonia Ellison tells us how much it's going up by and has reaction to the increase.
The city of Elmira announced the approval of its annual budget. Property taxes are increasing by 2% this year. This means those with properties assessed at $100,000 will pay $55.27 more than last year. Each month, that comes to $4.65 more.
A jump in everything. We all got to be more than expected.
2024 budget goals include improving bond ratings, filling vacant positions within city departments, and accomplishing additional capital projects with grant funding. Over $14 million worth of American Rescue Plan funding will fund projects like the repair of the City Hall clock tower, repair of the First Arena roof, updates on the Mark Twain golf course, and more. For the Local and Community Development Fund, Elmira secured $1,750,000 for two projects. First, the former Booth School property on Davis Street will be converted into 58 units of market rate housing through round 6 of Restore New York Communities program.
I know this building will be a great building for apartments. They should make it low income.
Round 7 of the revitalization program will allocate $750,000 to support the Reynolds Way apartment project, creating 62 units of affordable arbor housing.
All these homeless people down here have nothing. They live underneath bridges.
The projects will provide more quality housing, which is scarce.
A lot of these abandoned houses that's been boarded up should be a priority. They should fix them up or just take them down.
Elmira promised a revitalized environment for taxpayers and community in this year's budget, a promise locals hope is delivered from the property tax hike. Sonia Ellison, Big Fox News, Elmira.
The Elmira Police Department has announced the identity of the 47-year-old woman found dead earlier this week. Police say they have identified her as Elmira resident Melissa Sweeto. The body was discovered near the Norfolk Southern Railroad tracks. More developments are expected as the investigation continues. Anyone with information can call that number on your screen to leave an anonymous tip. The CDC is warning healthcare workers to be on the lookout for measles infections. The agency says there's been an uptick in the number of cases, with 23 confirmed cases of measles since December of 2023. Cases have been reported in 3 states, including Pennsylvania. The CDC says most of the infections involved children and adolescents who had not been vaccinated against measles, despite being eligible. Cornell University has announced its annual Spay Day. On February 17th, free spays and neutering to cats over 2 months old will be offered at the Cornell University College of Veterinary Medicine. On Saturday, February 3rd, registration opens at noon and closes when the wait list becomes full, or February 6th at noon, whichever comes first. Limited spaces are available, so register ASAP to secure an appointment. Students at Broadway Academy got the chance to tour colleges from the comfort of their own classroom. They utilized 360 VR headsets to tour campuses from across the region. Elmira City School District shared these photos of the students getting the experience. Tech leaders are taking tough questions from the Senate as a bipartisan group of lawmakers are pushing for legislation that aims to protect minors online. Rebecca Castor has the story from Capitol Hill.
A panel of tech giants on Capitol Hill Wednesday to defend their social media platforms and argue they're safe for kids.
Mental health is a complex issue, and the existing body of scientific work has not shown a causal link between using social media and young people having worse mental health outcomes.
Sitting up front, parents who say they lost their kids to social media harm.
No family or child is immune to a social media related harm.
Rose Bronstein lost her son to suicide after he was cyberbullied through Snapchat.
More and more children are dying each day, and if that's the case, then they're not doing enough.
Bronstein and other parents hope Wednesday's hearing will lead to new laws to protect children on social media and hold tech companies accountable.
What kind of society are these people creating?
Congress has introduced several bipartisan bills in the last year addressing social media safety, but none of them have been passed into law. While many of the tech CEOs say their platforms have safeguards in place, but are open to additional measures.
I want to be clear that we understand our responsibility to keep our community safe. I also want to recognize the many families who have worked to raise awareness on these issues, pushed for change, and collaborated with lawmakers on important legislation.
The Kids Online Safety Act is one bill on the table right now. This would prevent apps from recommending harmful content to minors, and Snapchat has come out in support of it. From Capitol Hill, Rebecca Castor, Fox News.
A high-level and unprecedented impeachment process is picking up steam on Capitol Hill as a House panel voted early this morning to advance articles of impeachment against Department of Homeland Security Secretary Alejandro Mayorkas. Marianne Rafferty has the latest on the accusations.
A monumental move on Capitol Hill as the migrant crisis continues along the southern border.
The ayes have it, and the motion is agreed to.
After roughly 15 hours of debate, the House Homeland Security Committee voted early Wednesday to push forward articles of impeachment against Department of Homeland Security Secretary Alejandro Mayorkas.
We will mark up 2 articles of impeachment: willful and systemic refusal to comply with the law, and breach of public trust.
The 18-15 vote was along party lines, with all Republicans voting in favor, accusing Mayorkas of refusing to enforce immigration law and lying to Congress about the security of the border.
He has presided over and helped usher in the largest illegal immigration catastrophe.
Impeachment efforts come as Customs and Border Protection data reveals there were about 2.5 million migrant encounters last year. December broke records with more than 300,000 encounters alone. And more caravans from Mexico and South America are continuing to make their way toward the U.S.
We decided to give a new future to our son so that he can grow up in a different economic situation and have a good education.
Secretary Mayorkas says immigration issues date back to before he took office. In a letter to the committee chairman, he writes, quote, "We need a legislative solution and only Congress can provide it.
We need the funding to be able to put in place border security measures that the president can utilize."
The entire House could vote to impeach Mayorkas as soon as next week. If passed, he would be the first cabinet secretary impeached in roughly 150 years. Marianne Rafferty, Fox News.
A full check of the forecast is just a moment away. Plus,
the fight against gas stoves just got moved to the back burner, at least on the federal level. I'm Madeleine Rivera in Washington, and I've got the details coming up.
Here's your local stock market update from Big Fox. Now, your Twin Tiers forecast from Big Fox.
Good evening. We are moving out of January, and we'll break down more on some of those January numbers of what occurred as we get that official number in. But what we're seeing here as we work into our first day of February, we're starting off our temperatures just around those lower 30s, so above normal, as we typically are still dropping into those teens for low temperatures. Now, we do hold to those overcast skies, as we'll even see that a cold front is going to be passing on by the end of the day, bringing some light accumulations, maybe a sprinkle to a flake that will slide on through. Very minor inconveniences there in place with any precipitation. What we will note is that that cold front is actually going to be ushering in a pretty strong high pressure system that is going to put us under dry and mild temperatures, trending even slightly above normal, as we'll hold to these quiet weather conditions through much of next week. So if we first, though, set up to not too bad temperature trends into our Thursday, 32 to start the day, climbing into those lower 40s, but it's that battle of that cloud cover. But we will be timing up that a cold front is going to be pushing its way across the Great Lakes and dropping to the southeast into the Atlantic, and with that is going to come some isolated areas of precipitation. So as we roll through the forecast, what we'll see is that as we roll towards end of day, you start to see that little bit of some little waves will start to develop, and that's going to bring some times of some rain showers to some even light snow showers that may last there into about Friday morning. Again, when it comes down to accumulation, extremely minor. When we look at the snowflake potential, we'll see that the biggest accumulation will happen through higher elevations into the Finger Lakes, where we're there seeing some of those spots even get just 1/10 of an inch, upwards of about 1/2 inch. Not too much for the Elmira Corning area. If anything, more of a sprinkle chances. Temperatures are still staying pretty mild even with that cold front. So minor inconveniences, though. Note with some of those flakes, it always can create some reduced visibility and some slick public roadways. We'll note that our temperatures as they trend into those lower 40s for highs into our Thursday. We step into Friday morning as that frontal system slides on through. It is not bringing too much for cold air. That atmosphere that we have in place is going to stay pretty steady, so we don't even have too much of some frigid temperatures for Friday. Morning staying around 32. Now we don't get to the 40s on Fridays. We'll stay under that northwesterly flow. That's going to limit warming, but again, not too bad. 37 is still what's near normal for this time of the year. But getting above normal is where those temperatures are going to go, at least even by the weekend. We're talking about heading into those 40s, and a near normal high is about 34 degrees. So with the likelihood here that we're seeing across much of the Northeast of above normal temperatures taking us even into that second week of February, means that we're going to have more of at least some 40-degree highs. Off towards our west, there was some 50s and 60s breaking records today. So we know that there is some warmth within the atmosphere, and that will definitely become known. So as we work into our weekend, we do see that high pressure system quickly move in, which does bring those mostly sunny skies. And then we have that consistency of at least seeing those high temperatures climb into those lower 40s.